This week's show brought to you by Roosters, a fun casual joint. Frank Shoup, Georgetown's big name in cars. Welcome, everybody, to the Scott County Cardinals News Graphic Football Coaches Show, Week 7 of the regular season. We will get to Coach Jim McKee momentarily and talk to some of the players as well. We're here to review, first of all, last week's game against Bryan Station. Scott County returned home after the 2 games against the Ohio teams. Back to district play, kind of the comfort zone, kind of what they're used to at this time of year. And they took it out on Bryan Station. It had been a couple of weeks, 22 days, in fact, since Scott County had celebrated victory. It was a resounding victory over Bryan Station, 49-12. That score makes it sound a little easier than it was. Bryan Station had some success moving the football. They kind of junked their normal offense that they would normally bring with the shotgun with Jalen Burbage. We kind of talked about him last week. They went with more of a power running game for most of the night. It drove the ball. It kept the ball in the defender's hands for long periods of time. But Scott County kind of had the bend but don't break thing going. They found a way to keep Bryan Station out of the end zone for the most part, except for one long run by Burbage and one long pass. As far as Scott County, everything was a long run or a long pass or a short drive. The starters ran 14 plays all night. The entire team ran 20, and yet they scored 7 times. I think at one point Scott County was 14 plays, 6 touchdowns. So a good batting average any way you slice it, if you want to use a term from baseball. Josh Davis, a touchdown on the ground, couple through the air. Bryce Fryman had a huge night. He had 4 carries, 3 of them for touchdowns. I think he was only touched once by the defense all night, kind of pushed out of bounds at the end of one of his touchdown runs. But it was a resounding performance from those guys. Some guys were a little banged up. Bryce Fryman, Cooper Robb, Sam Sutton. And consequently, a lot of different faces got in the lineup. It was a great opportunity to get that lead early and kind of put it away so that some different people could get in there for the Cardinals. So a good win brought them to 4-2 overall in the season, 1-0 in the district, and now the attention turns to Henry Clay, another Lexington opponent this week within the district. It's a team that started the season in little struggles, 0-3 off the bat. They've put together a couple of wins, beat Lafayette, which always gets your attention if you're a Scott County fan, if another team beats Lafayette. Now Lafayette not where they've been the past couple of years. In fact, the first game against Scott County this year started what is now a 5-game losing streak. So the Generals haven't been where the Generals were, but for Henry Clay to beat them in a series that dates back to the 1940s, pretty impressive on their part. So the Blue Devils come in here with some confidence. It's actually, the game is at Henry Clay, so let's get that straight. It's a 7:30 Friday night kickoff. Henry Clay kind of been hurt, I think, by the redistricting a little bit. They lost some guys to Frederick Douglass as well. But they've been able to put it together, and they've always been kind of a thorn, not recently, but years ago. Coach McKee will get into that a little bit later. They were kind of a thorn in Scott County's side. Always good athletes, always some playmakers, and that's going to be a game definitely worth watching this week. Going forward after that, Frederick Douglass at home on senior night on October 6th. Then there's a game at Paul Lawrence Dunbar. And finally, that Dunbar game is the 13th. And then on the 20th, Pleasure Ridge Park at Louisville. So things winding down for the regular season. The bye week is at the end this year. That's something that we got into with Coach McKee a little bit also in our time with him. So why don't we get to Coach McKee. He had a lot of words to say about how he felt the team bounced back from a couple of losses and put together a good show against Bryan Station. Let's see what Coach McKee had to say.
Bryan Station did a good job controlling the clock, but Scott County's offense was efficient in the 49-12 win last Friday.
You know, I thought we looked really sharp on offense. I believe sometimes we're a little quick to discredit our opponent when we do really well, or not to credit our opponent when we don't do so well. I think that we're all a little guilty of that. I think a lot of the credit goes to our kids and how well they executed our offense.
Younger players had a chance to shine on defense in the first district victory.
The sophomore group is very talented, especially defensively. They only allowed, I think, 54 points last year in 10 freshman games. They've played 4 JV games, and they haven't allowed a point yet. So, you know, some of the older guys have to realize and have been told since day one that eventually it's going to become a point in time where we got to give those younger guys a shot, and we did. I thought some of them really stepped up and looked good. They're very, very hungry to play.
Scott County's team speed and blistering pace were too much for Bryan Station to contain all night.
I think the biggest difference in our game with Bryan Station wasn't necessarily Bryan Station's lack of effort or lack of talent or lack of anything, as much as just the speed of the game that we play, in which we play the game. And I don't mean how fast somebody runs from point A to point B necessarily, or how fast we snap the ball in between plays, just how fast we go as a unit. And that's really just the only thing that's held the sophomores back, is they've got to get caught up to the speed of the game. But no, I thought some of those guys looked good. Sam Daniels stepped in there, did a nice job. Alberto Campos did a nice job. Bronson Brown did a nice job in there. There's some guys in that class that can really play.
This week's opponent, Henry Clay, also brings speed and athleticism to this district matchup.
But I believe they've signed over 20 Division I football players from Henry Clay High School since I've been here. I know they had 5 on one team when they beat us real badly one year. So, you know, they're going to be talented and fast, and when your grandson's playing football, Henry Clay's going to be talented and fast. It's just some schools have, you know, and Belfry's probably going to be running the wishbone power. You know, I mean, just some things you identify with certain schools, and they're fast, and they've got some guys that if you don't keep them corralled and control them, they can get away from you and beat you.
Scott County has a chance to begin setting its playoff itinerary with a win this week.
So if we can get this win this week and beat Dunbar, then we think, okay, we're at the least second in the district, which is first round home playoff game, and would set up a district championship game the next week.
The Cardinals are 26-3 in their last 29 games against district opponents.
You know, we played in 2013, we played Henry Clay in the regional finals, won 39-36 or something crazy. 2014, Bryan Station stopped our winning streak at like 25 games against the city in another real close game. And then 15 and 16, we lost to Lafayette and once in the regional finals and once in the semifinals. It makes football better when somebody in Lexington is good, really good. You know, now it's been 3 different teams in the last 4 years, but if one of the 5 teams is really good, it makes it better for us. It gives us, you know, that's somebody right in our own backyard that we've got to really push to prepare for.
Scott County has 4 more regular season games, then a bye week immediately preceding the playoffs.
Well, we've never had it at the end, but here's the thing. You know, it's my responsibility to sell everything to the positive. And if I walked around and said, man, I can't believe we got this open date at the end, it stopped all our momentum, this is crazy. Well, I mean, I did the scheduling, and the bottom line, the reason why we have the open date at the end, that's the only time we could get a schedule. You know, I mean, it was going to fall either week 0 or week 10, however we could get a schedule. So I'm just going to walk around and say this open date at the end is the greatest thing that's ever happened. We're going to get an extra week to rest. Everybody's going to be 100%. We're going to pound weights. We're going to be physically strong, be stronger than we've ever been, and rolling into the playoffs.
All right, that's Coach McKee, and he's confident, I believe, in the Cardinals' ability to maybe run the table or at least get a win this week, be 2-0, and kind of put themselves in position to do no worse than wrap up a home playoff game here in the very near future. We talked to some players, wanted to get to some of the unsung players. We'd like to talk to seniors and a couple that don't necessarily get in the starting lineup, but have worked their way in there and have seen some time on the field in recent weeks, as Coach McKee said, with some new faces and getting them used to the speed of the game, are John Micah Campbell and Peyton Harden. They're both defensive players. Let's see what they had to say.
Scott County's defense adjusted to long drives that slowed the pace of the Bryan Station game.
Yeah, it just all starts in practice, man. We're not used to them long drives and everything. We're used to getting off the field real quick.
And we had a great practice all week, and they went out and executed pretty good. The corners did great, so Stakeland stepped up real big. Cooper got hurt, Sam got hurt, so we had a couple guys come off the bench and step up real good.
Henry Clay should be another run-oriented, athletic opponent this week.
Just to know that those district games are so important going into the playoffs, to get that #1 seed so we can hopefully make it to Kroger Field.
Oh, they run almost every time, so the corners just got to be alert. They run, whenever they pass up the middle, so you just got to watch for the run the whole time.
Now 4-2, the Cardinals are looking to run the table in both the district and the region.
Work extra hard. Coaches are on us more this week. The heat gets to us a little bit more. We just got to push through it and just keep on working hard, man.
It's been a great season. Just keep practicing hard. Keep doing the same things we've been doing.